the winds of heaven. So he collected some craftsmen and began building marine engines on half an acre of ground at Vauxhall on the Thames. After 40 years, Wilson passed into history, and his place was taken by a Mr. Hodges, who could also see further through a brick wall than most men. And he saw the horse replaced upon our roads by the newfangled petrol engine. Pretty soon there was no more room on the half acre for the marine engines and the cars. So Mr. Hodges took 150 of his best men and began to build cars in earnest near the little town of Luton in Bedfordshire. But he'd not forgotten the old ironworks by the Thames at Vauxhall, and the new enterprise was called Vauxhall Motors. The opening years of the 20th century passed peacefully and prosperously enough, but there were great changes on the way. With the coming of war, Vauxhall Motors began the production of cars in a major way for the army. By the end, it was no longer a workshop, it was a factory. Already the idea of motoring for every man, born in America, was gaining ground in Britain. And in the 20s, as Vauxhall developed their peacetime policy, General Motors of America were looking to Britain for a market. At that moment was born an alliance of American production systems with deep-rooted British engineering know-how, which was to burst upon Luton with explosive vigor. In 1964, Vauxhall Bedford employed nearly 34,000 people, and 350,000 cars, vans, and trucks were produced, 155,000 of them for export. And by 1965, the pace of the automated production lines had quickened still further.
So that one has got to make up your mind in the first place what type of car and what section of the public you want to appeal to. This also applies to the mechanical engineer, of course, that he cannot necessarily design for the sporting enthusiast and also the doctor who's got to do his family rounds. You can build the best car in the world, but if it doesn't sell, it's pointless.
Already in the 50s, the Bedford truck line had outgrown the Luton plant, and a factory was built in nearby Dunstable to ease the pressure of demand.
I think a lot of it is the attitude of the man himself. If you can sort of get them interested to learn what to do it correctly, this will help to give you quality all the time. We do try to encourage this type of thing, the curiosity about the job. Because it means interest. Curiosity is interest, and if you can create that have developed that interest, you've got good worker there.
Years ago, there was no such thing as a balancer to hang a gun on, where we've had hand sealer guns. We now have a major pump from a large container, and this means just a small gun which is continually being supplied with sealer, rather than the man having to constantly fill up a small gun. We're always doing this. We're always trying to make the job simpler and easier.
The introduction of the entirely new Viva model and the steady growth of production soon called for still more space. And in 1961, another major Vauxhall plant was begun at Ellesmere Port in Cheshire.
I was under the impression, just that we build a certain stock of cars and they go. But in point of fact, we don't. We build to customers' orders. Each schedule is prepared from customers' orders. From the customers' orders, we prepare a master build sheet, and a sequence of vehicles on the line is transmitted from the trim shop to the final assembly and to the engine line over in AA block.
Well, I'm the group leader on section 3 on the final assembly conveyor. I suppose the average operator covers about 3 jobs on each car. It might only be a nut and bolt, or it might be a fair-sized job, such as a gear assembly, which takes a bit of time. And I like every man on the section to know each job on the section, if possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but we do like to give them all a fair shift round. Each individual job in itself, as one job, is boring. But when you have the amount of variation that we have out there on the line, when they begin to see the way a car goes together, exactly what goes into it, I think that's when the interest does come into it.
Quality control works very closely in conjunction with us. There's no doubt about that. They set the standard, which we do our best to adhere to. There are a lot of people who would say, well, you could take all the inspectors away and you'd still produce motor cars. Well, that's perfectly true, you would. But you wouldn't have the constant checks which we do have, spot welds being checked for breakage, the right number of spot welds being put there, the right standard of metal finish being done and so on. No, we work closely with inspection on this.
This is the sum of it all. This is the work we do. Cars and trucks and buses and trucks and buses and cars. More and more of them. Better in quality, better in value. This is our work. And this is the unbroken link between the overgrown blacksmith shop of Wilson and Hodges and the automatic monsters in the Luton press shop. People. A great many people. Some of whom are new to our industry, new to the place where they work. But many of whom remember the time when sending a replacement part out of the country was an adventure. In a way, it still is an adventure. A millionth part of a 140-nation giant adventure that goes on night and day around the earth. Away on the other side of the world in Puerto Rico, a Vauxhall Viva hits a rock on a seaside track and needs a new drive shaft and needs it fast. The dealer fits a new one on the spot. To replace his stock of this rarely needed part, there's no need for letters of explanation or detailed description of type and model. The dealer picks up his telephone, cables a part number, and one of the most modern replacement depots in Europe takes over, automatic.
In this country we've got about 320 main dealers ordering direct for parts, and abroad we have got 500 or 600 export dealers and General Motors assembly plants. The handling time through computer here is somewhere in the region of 2 to 3 minutes. The random access unit enables us at any time during the day to tell within a matter of split seconds what the current stock position is on any given part number. The stock is updated continually all day, both by additions and reductions. On the random access unit, which controls all the stock, we've got just over 52,000 part numbers. And not only have we got 52,000 part numbers, but we've got the whole history of the part number, such things as price, the location in the warehouse, how many we've sold to dealers in this country, to export, month by month, and in fact the full life history of that part number and its current position at all times. Oh, in the case of jobs to go abroad by air, the parts will leave the parts department within 6 to 7 hours of the order being received.
It is possible to break a Vauxhall car or a Bedford truck, but it's not easy when they can survive the ferocious inquisition of the test tracks.
all components of the vehicle and rig test them. This might take the form of pounding, stroking, cycling, or excessively loading components to find their ultimate breaking points. Some components are tested for long periods, 500 hours or more in the case of windshield wipers, and other tests are completed in a very short time. The strength tests, impact tests can be over and done within a matter of minutes.
The engineering and styling building at Luton is not an easy place to get into unless you're very well known indeed, or very well vouched for. This is where the design staff, planning each new model, each new development, lives and works. This is where eyes look forward and up.
You can get two cars alike as regards engineering standards. One can be a very poor looker, whereas the other one can be very clean, very neat, and consequently it's going to sell more. So I think that nowadays people are getting a lot more design conscious than what they have been in the past. They've been accepting things before, and now they're made to feel that design counts for a great deal. Basically, there are a lot of advanced drawings which help us by going way out in design. Just by drawing these things and putting them up, that we can see something on a certain sketch, on another sketch that we can visualize. It might go well on a production car. And consequently, we do a lot of these advanced type cars, maybe 30 or 40 years ahead, just to open out our ideas.
We provide the design in an ultimate stage, which is a full-scale presentation model. We aim to resolve every aesthetic point, every appearance detail of the line, and present it to management who meet in the boardroom of our auditorium here. And then they can praise the thing, they can see exactly what they're getting. And they can see, when they look at the full-scale model, their own problems. They look at it in their own terms. And the sales director will look at the thing and think, well, can I really sell this? And how many can we sell? The director of manufacturing will look at this and say, well, I wonder whether I can possibly make that, or we may get production problems. That panel there, for instance, may be difficult to store because it has a very sharp point on it. And he'll put his point of view and say, well, if that could be rounded off, I'm quite happy about that particular model.
This is the work we do at Luton, at Dunstable, and at Ellesmere Port. These are what we make at Vauxhall, Bedford, England. These are the cars and trucks and buses and vans and trucks and buses and cars and vans and trucks and buses and vans and the secret for 3 years. At the heart of the most modern motor plant in Europe, behind this door, the newest shape in cars was conceived and became real. This factory planned to build a car utterly new, yet worthy of a long history of fine engineering. Better than anything that had gone before, different from all the others. A car that would look ahead from 1958. So 3 years ago, at the styling manager's desk, began the genesis of a design to meet the tastes of tomorrow. And thus, at first in hundreds of artists' drawings, in conference and comparison, proposal and rejection, the evolution gathered pace of Type PA. It was under that non-committal project title that the newest Vauxhall six-cylinder models underwent their long development, until, when they were unveiled in Paris on October the 3rd, 1957, they inherited the famous names Velox and Cresta. Gradually, the shape of the future evolves. It becomes a picture in life size, is given depth and perspective, the nearest thing yet to reality. Car stylists must imagine and visualize, the more so because they don't have unlimited freedom. Production and body engineers, power units and suspension designers, all these set limits to their needs. From the artist to the craftsman, from the painting to a blueprint for a meticulously accurate, full-size model. And now, for the first time, the shape of the future takes on solid, three-dimensional form. The first indication of a new, lower conception for a big six-seater car emerges in clay. Here's work for hands of the finest skill. This model must be precise in the most minute particular, for this is the starting point of the master drawings from which the dies for the production line's presses will be produced. In fact, the model is built inside a big steel fixture, which is one great micrometer. A second model of the car must be made as a hollow shell, so that its interior can be built up to full scale. Here's one of the many ways in which facsimiles of interior features are created, starting with a plaster of Paris mold. Resin is applied to the plaster. Sheets of glass cloth are laid in place. They are carefully brushed in position with more resin. It's all left to harden, and out of the mold comes a perfect replica in shape and measurement of the instrument panel in fiberglass. Most of the bright plated parts of a new design are first patterned in wood, bumpers for example. A hammer form is made, real craftsmen's work this, to be used as a pattern for the finished metal part. Some wooden patterns are sprayed with zinc and polished. And some are in fact made in metal, like this radiator grille. Seats are planned to use this new car's 5 foot of interior width and be less than 20 inches from the ground. As the interior parts are made, they are fitted within a wooden replica of the car's shape, called a trim buck. Within it, all the panels, pressings, and soft furnishings are assembled. Meanwhile, the engineers have been packing in the power and starting it, cloaked in a black disguise, on its long months of test, proving the punch of the latest, most highly developed form of the famous Vauxhall 2 1/4 litre six-cylinder. To achieve a hill climb test that could go on indefinitely, they loaded the car until it put forth maximum torque all the time, and they learned all they wanted to know about cooling, lubrication, and durability. But there's more to a car than the engine. You wouldn't drive your car over an endless succession of potholes and manhole covers, but it's nice to know that prototypes have stood up to this sort of thing, mercilessly hammering frame, steering, and suspension, hour after hour, day after day. And night after night. But England can't provide all the testing grounds that modern car designers need. So they put their prototypes in an air freighter, and headed them for the autobahns and rugged mountains of Europe, seeking continuous flat-out highway driving and days on end of stiff grades and bad surfaces. And here's where a project is proven in all its points. This is a car with big power, in a greatly improved aerodynamic shape. It shows with every mile how much it owes in its practical motoring qualities to its new low line, only 4 feet 9 inches high at the roof, and its center of gravity only 23 inches from the ground. It's sure-footed on the worst of surfaces. With a wider front track than the earlier sixes, and independent suspension with long radius arms, a principle proved in the Vauxhall Victor's exceptional handling, this car really holds the road and goes where it is pointed. All the world's roads aren't autobahns, but this car has been developed to cope with them all. Its breadth and balance allow it to corner without roll, to brake and accelerate without pitch. Everything works just as it should. The new body, extending the principle of integral construction to eliminate fore and aft bearers, and instead using a complete integral shell, is an immensely sturdy and rigid unit. Wherever they go, these chaps look for the stiffest grades and the roughest surfaces, seeking all the lock-to-lock steering they can find, questing after gradients and corners which will test to the limit the new all-synchromesh gearbox, designed to make traffic driving easier and safer in owner's hands. Lucky these men are good drivers as well as good development engineers. See what I mean? Here we go again. Well, it doesn't seem to worry him. The designers of this car were especially conscious of the heavy demands which modern traffic conditions make on brakes. They meant it to have stopping power to match its exhilarating performance, and to have high resistance to brake fade. So they've given it wider brakes than the former six-cylinder models, 138 square inches of lining compared with 100, and composite steel and iron drums with a cylindrical main casting which can't go bell-shaped, as a one-piece drum may, through heat distortion. As final road testing nears its end, every fierce climb, every racing downgrade, piles up triumphant proof of a sound, new design, Every day makes more manifest its balance, its power, its controllability, its comfort. Even in quieter travel, this body shape pays off through better aerodynamic flow. And the valley roads on the way home give it one more chance to show that no matter how racked and tormented, it stays dustproof. Road dirt will have little chance to mar the handsome fabrics within that are specially chosen with an expert eye to beauty and to durability. Steadily, the widely varied development work of 3 years is drawn together into the preliminaries of production. One of these cars is real. One is the stylist's master pattern of plaster, fiberglass, and wood. They must check measure for measure at every point, so that all the people who will buy this car will get just what was designed and tested for them. Surely this is a great day for any family. The finer the car, the sweeter the joy. And there are no sweeter lines in fine cars than this new Vauxhall Cresta shows. This is motoring in the modern shape, graced in the colors of tomorrow, set off in its distinctive style by bright work of chrome and stainless steel. This is the shape that is low, wide, and handsome. Here's finger-light control. Here's boldness in the details that count for so much. Here's a safe car with the unequaled vision of a panoramic screen. Easy to park with full-width rear vision. Satisfying in its interior appointments, especially in my lady's critical esteem. Interior ventilation intake away from dust and fumes, feeding a heater compactly tucked beneath the scuttle, and leaving wide space on either side of the engine for easy maintenance. And see the thermostat on the carburetor, automatic mixture control for cold starting and warming up. Luggage space a quarter bigger than in the previous Vauxhall 6, with a flat floor and spare wheels stowed away where it will be clean to handle. Six-cylinder Vauxhalls are famous for their unique combination of performance, comfort, and economy. Into the development of the new Velox and Cresta has gone determination that they should be far better in every way. Miss Jones? Continue, please. Copy, page 4, over, all, size, and related.
Related detailed dimensions have been selected and matched with very great care. Balanced proportions, which contribute so much to good looks, also favor overall...
Overall size and related detailed dimensions have been selected and matched with very great care. Balanced proportions, which contribute so much to good looks, also favor maximum interior roominess. Wise design for our now so crowded motoring days. The most internal space within the least external size. Stable, comfortable width without clumsy length or unsightly height becomes essential, and comfort in all ways becomes more important. It's a foolish designer, for example, who trips over this little portion of the human frame. Ladies used to hang a bustle on it. They say you can tell a man's age by it. In a car, you sit on it all the time.
Today's car must be easy to get in and stay in, a place for everything and everything in easy reach. There's been lip service to this aim often enough. Here it's put properly into practice.
Right, cut, save the light.
All right.
Fine. Camera, all right with you? Yes, okay with me. Nice work, Anna.
Nice car.
It's a nice car. What is it? This new one, this Fiver.
Marvellous how time flies, isn't it? Thanks, love. 3 years we've been on it now in development. Well, straight up. I've never been in on a program like it. Toughest thing I ever saw.
Tough indeed. It is a tough job to produce the ideal modern family and business car. Spacious and mechanically outstanding, with top speed and acceleration to beat the others, plus handling and braking of the finest. This was the plan. It took 3 years of development and 21 months of brutal test track pounding through all seasons and all weathers to prove it practical. The test engineers roamed far beyond their private proving ground. In Britain, they went in winter to the wild hills of the extreme north and west, and they went further. They went to Canada to progress their exhaustive development schedules in the lonely flatlands of northern Ontario. They went to match practice with theory in the car's structural conception, its safety, power, economy, and reliability, and in the performance of its equipment and preparation for human comfort, its weatherproofing, its heating, and ventilation. The prototype program took advantage, too, of the world's largest private proving ground at Milford in Michigan, where moving parts and controls were subjected to planned repetitive use. This, over weeks of continuous running, made possible periodic precise assessments of wear and therefore of the expected durability of mechanical components, and projected, for example, a long trouble-free life for the car's 4-speed all-synchromesh remote-control gearbox. There were a stated number of stops and restarts every time round, hour after hour, week after week, to assess the transmission's efficiency and the life of the light, precise diaphragm clutch. The circuit's numerous differing gradients were taken at different speeds in various predetermined gears, proving the presence of very high, smooth pulling power in the upper ratios. This sort of undramatic but remorseless duration testing proves the design efficiency of a vehicle as it will be used by its owners over all kinds of surfaces in year-by-year running. An owner likes an engine to stay in tune. Regular spells of wide-open throttle prove that this one does. time at Milford, the prototype was tried by interested local development experts with vast experience of many types of car, but with none of this car. For them, its most impressive feature was its handling, its precise steering through intricate curves, and its level road-holding ride. It's always possible to get high performance from a small engine by costly tuning and a blind eye to petrol thirst. That was not the object here. This was to be a strong, thrifty, decently quiet saloon having, by sensible design of ample engine capacity with modest weight, outstanding performance. Really outstanding. It goes from 30 to 50 in third gear in under 9.5 seconds. That's more than a second quicker than the norm for all its 10 leading British and continental competitors. The driver who wants to can use this roomy car's snap-action remote control gear lever to move from standstill to 50 miles an hour in 13.3 seconds. It's fastest through the gears to any selected speed up to 60 miles per hour, which it reaches in 20 seconds, a very large superiority indeed. Only 2 rivals can make 60 in 22 seconds, 6 need from 23 to 29, and 2 want more than 30. Maximum top speed, 80 plus, best among all its competitors. Although its easy-breathing engine revs with such vivid freedom, this car also tops its class in pulling power. Its top gear acceleration between 20 and 40 miles per hour, this is a searching test of torque, takes less than 11.5 seconds, and that is the best among all its competitors also. On straight or twisting roads, this is the sort of performance which the skilled driver can enjoy in safety, with front wheels independently suspended but transversely sprung on a roll-resisting principle proved in racing cars, and a rear suspension designed to ride smoothly on long springs on the straight, but to offer immediate resistance to sideways thrust. A total design, that is to say, for excellent road holding, flat, precise handling, and an unmistakably level ride without dip or lift, even under hard acceleration and braking. Here its maker's claim is a real design achievement, an outstandingly safe and comfortable car which is the biggest among all its rivals in combined passenger and luggage space, but which is quicker than any competitor through the gears, best of all 1-litre cars in pulling power, best in gradability, that is, hill climbing performance, in second, third or top gears, is right at the front in a standing start quarter mile, and is the fastest of all 1-litre cars in top speed too. This is certainly the car for men who want to get there. But as all days are not summer, not all drivers care so much about making fast journey time. To many, a comfortably achieved petrol consumption of well over 40 will be a good deal more meaningful, especially to the man who frequently travels with all the family aboard. The most ferocious possible driving methods cannot reduce miles per gallon below 35. The man who drives for economy, with some care, can get 50. And money saved on petrol for many families today is money to spend on other needful things. Things for the home, maybe. When you've bought them, it's nice to be able to bring them home with you. How much a house needs in, say, paint, and how often it gets it, are budgeting factors for families without money to waste. How much paint a car gets and how it gets it are big factors in costs over a period too. The paint on a car has plenty to put up with. The Vauxhall Viva is the youngest in a family of cars whose makers have reached out for quite exceptional standards of finish and protection.
The very thorough underbody sealing, rust-proofing and conscientious painting undertaken by Vauxhall Motors. This includes the injection of polythene wax and aluminium fillers in the door sills, an undersurface thickly coated with bituminous paint, and 3 coats of synthetic cellulose enamel, baked for at least 28 minutes at 190 degrees Fahrenheit. A total of 6 3/4 gallons of paint and corrosion-resisting material on every Victor, more on each Velox and Cresta, as Vauxhall Motors sensibly emphasized in press advertising while last winter's weather was at its worst.
This new Vauxhall has all the preparation and painting that all Vauxhalls have, and more. It is underbody sealed, for example, not only from end to end, but inside as well as out. Its test running in the far north proved its design for the worst winter conditions, as for all others, proved its weatherproofing, its ventilation, and the cozy effectiveness of its heater, with output equivalent to that of a 2-bar electric fire. The Canadian winter showed that the Viva's handling pays handsomely in slippery conditions. Its directional stability was shown to be exceptionally good, its traction also. In all practical requirements, this car is preeminently safe, sensible, and tough. Yet, it has one thing more that is important too these days. Glamour. A good-looking car may not be good. A good car is not necessarily good-looking. This one is both. Here's glamour in shape and line and poise. Glamour in the grand manner. But here's a tiny turning circle too.
Not sorry it's over, though.
Going back to town when you finish here tonight? Yes, shall we share a taxi to the station?
No, thanks. I bought a car.
Ah, have you?
This is the Vauxhall Viva, for which overall size and related detailed dimensions were selected and matched with very great care. It is unique. There is no other car offering the same combination of space, performance, and operating economy which the Viva provides.